everybody. It is Monday, March 14th, 2016. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan, and Nick is here. And by the way, if Nick did not watch Gotham, but I do want to talk a little bit about tonight's episode because it's probably the best one of the season so far. And that's saying a lot because this season has been a hell of a lot better than the first season was. So if you're not watching Gotham, and you don't want any spoilers about it, you might not want to watch it. But anyway, hi Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm sleepy. I'm very sleepy. See, you say that I'm here for no reason, yet you drag me here every time. You literally fly out to my house, and you're like, Nick, I need you. I need you to be on the show. See, people just don't understand the dedication that I have to being here to be with all of you.
So in other words, you're saying that you're a lazy jackass, and I actually motivate you to do something with your life for a change.
No, that's completely wrong, because I'm actually highly successful.
No. See, what it is, I believe what you're trying to say is that I'm Batman and you're Robin, and I've given you a reason to live and to do things.
No, no. That's about as far off as we can get.
So are you saying I'm not Batman?
You are not Batman, or you might be Batman.
How?
But
Okay.
I'm definitely not
How?
Robin.
Okay. How can you
I'm
prove?
definitely not
How
Robin.
can you prove I am not Batman?
Because where is your car?
Chick to the car.
There is no car.
Well, okay. Look. Okay. Look. Here's the thing. And this is interesting because we actually are going to talk about. Actually, this is almost an entirely Batman themed episode for once. Finally, instead of talking about your stupid Spider-Man movies. But anyway, Oh wait,
You
hang on a
finally
minute.
get the fangirl.
Do you realize that we've almost been doing the new shows for a year now, and like we've essentially come full circle. Like the first show was Batman versus Superman, and now I'm sorry,
That's Batman versus Spider-Man.
Batman and Spider-Man, and now here
You
it
don't
is,
even remember
and now here it is within about a 2 month span. Like roughly around the anniversary for the new shows, we're going to have a Batman movie and Spider-Man in a movie. That's actually kind of awesome to me.
I mean, they're great heroes. No matter who you think is better, or if you like Marvel or DC, or how much John harps on Spider-Man or I harp on Batman, they're great heroes, and they're fun, and we should all just enjoy them.
Well, speaking of great and fun, I do want to talk about something that I saw. It was actually in my Facebook newsfeed, and I clicked on it, and it woke my little heart. Attack on Titan season 2 was supposed to have come out this year, and it's actually been delayed again. There is apparently no date being given for when we're going to have season 2. The reason is exactly the same reason it was in like 2014, I think, somewhere around the time that season 1 aired, and they were discussing when it's going to happen. They said, well, the manga's actually not caught up to the story yet. But it's still not, and it's been about 2 years since the series, season 1 of the series premiered, and it's kind of strange to think about that. Uh,
I mean,
it's strange, but not strange.
it's a problem for any show that's based on a book or manga or a comic. TV shows go at such a faster rate. I mean, we've seen this problem, and we're kind of worried about this problem in some areas, like Game of Thrones. Even though I haven't really watched Game of Thrones that much, I know that it's catching up to the books, and well, George R. R. Martin is famous for writing very, very slowly. And I wonder what they're going to do if they actually catch up with the books. And
Well,
I
see,
know he said that the story for the show is different than the books now, or pretty different. But
they're
at the same
actually
time, go on.
they're actually already caught up to uh, the books. The season will bring them dead even with the books, and HBO. The problem with Game of okay. Here's the thing. Walking Dead has essentially done the same thing. At the point they're at right now, the comics have not moved much past this. There's not much ground here to cover. But with the rate at which the comics actually come out, Walking Dead can actually add in some filler, to the episode. So by the time the next season comes out, probably this October, there will be some more wiggle room, to play for the story, and they should be able to advance the comic. It's like once a month an issue, I think, or something like that. So there'll be enough time for the comic to kind of catch up, and they can kind of add on some new stuff. And at that point, they'll essentially be keeping pace with the comics. But Game of Thrones definitely has got a problem. This season is the last season they can really do, and it be along the lines of the book. But there is an agreement between George R. Martin and HBO that he's actually already told them what the overall end of the Game of Thrones storyline is, and HBO can do that at any time if they want to. They have creative control over the show. He didn't give us yet, basically. The problem is
I mean,
HBO is wanting to stick to the source material as much as possible, and
it also creates a problem because we hear all the time about people that read books that have spoilers for people that watch the shows. But this would create an actual reverse situation, where if you write the show, you're actually spoiling the end of the book, at least to a certain degree. I mean, if you're sticking to the source material, they have to stick at least in some degree to the actual ending that will be in the book.
they do. But the thing is, like I said, he's already written the show off. I mean, he's allowed to have some control over what's said, but by and large, if HBO wants to do their own complete, version of the series, they can do that. Now, people have made the argument that uh, Martin will have to actually uh, write the books along in line with the show, but he doesn't have to if he didn't want to. So I think what HBO is going to do is give it, this will be like season 6. I think they're going to go uh, 7 or like at least 1 or 2 more seasons, and then they're probably going to stop because I believe the idea is that they do not want to force the ending of the story before he's released the book because it's his property, and that's kind of where Attack on Titan is now. Most people, I don't think, realize that comics are actually not printed at the same rate that manga. I'm sorry, manga is not printed at the same rate that comics are. Some manga stories come out once every month, once every 2 months, something like that. And I think Attack on Titan is uh, once a month. I think. Okay, but it is not a continual publication. Like it's not all out at one time. And for example, that Walking Dead comes out like every uh, 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's a little faster than the manga is by about a week. So there's going to be more for Walking Dead to draw from than there is for Attack on Titan. But it
But
is disappointing to me.
another thing is that often a show combines more than one chapter or comic of a manga or comic. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean,
just the first season of Titan by itself, they covered at least 2 whole story arcs, at least, from what I understand. And
yeah,
Walking Dead is currently, I mean, just in maybe like 5 or 6 seasons now. It doesn't like on the TV show. It doesn't seem like they've actually moved around that much, because they're all there because they're actually within a time frame of about 2.5 years or so. But they've done upwards of 10 years worth of comics now, and that's where they're at.
I mean, this is going to become more of a problem as I mean it's already been a problem in the anime and manga scene for a while now, but we're going to see this as more of a problem in other areas too as well, especially with comic and book series, which it seems like a very popular trend to transition them to movies and TV shows much more now than it used to be in the past. And I honestly wonder how Hollywood's going to be able to handle this because they're either going to have to slow down the pacing or, I mean, the production. Um, we're either going to end up getting longer seasons or slower stories in TV and movies. At least I think so.
Well, see,
Because I think that's the only thing they can do.
that's where Walking Dead has actually done the right thing. Since season one, they have intentionally spaced out the season. Like around December, they cut it off. For the winter break, and they're off till uh, February. So you have about a two or 3 month break in there before your episodes come back, and they do that intentionally to try and space things out. So Walking Dead has done very good. Like I said, they're right up with the comics right now. So it so
I mean, which is good, but a lot of people haven't liked the past couple seasons as much as the original
Well, yeah,
two or three.
it's actually gotten kind of boring, to be honest with you. But like I said,
Yeah,
like I said on Friday, episode for episode, Shameless is a hell of a lot better than Walking Dead is. But
yeah, and
but as I mentioned earlier, Walking Dead is actually good because right now they can kind of keep pace, because they're only going to be able to put so much into a season. So if they want to
yeah.
add some kind of fluff storyline in there, they can do that and give the comic time to get ahead, to get caught up. But just to
See,
finish the one
I'm
story arc,
wondering.
just to finish the one story arc for Attack on Titan is going to take at least another year and a half, 2 years even. So, and see, the thing
But
is,
see, oh, hold on, hold on. The thing I'm wondering is, TV shows and movies don't do as well with slower storylines. I mean, there's a reason that they're different mediums. Publications and comics and books, and manga, and TV shows and movies. I mean, they move at very different paces. And as we transition more from, or at least as TV and movies seem to be more inclined to work off of uh, written publications, they're having a problem because when they do slow the story down to try to match the pace of the writing, um, the shows are just plain boring. I mean, I'm sorry. Attack of the Titan, although the first half of this first season was amazing and fun, I was pretty bored for a large part of the second half of it. I mean, it just kept going on and on about very little things, and I sort of lost interest, honestly,
it,
for
it
a while.
it's kind
I
of
haven't
like
even really thought about it for a while.
I don't really want to say this, because it's one of my favorite series, but it's kind of like Sword Art Online was. At least the second season is like the way it's set up. It's kind of a repeat of the first season, which is a little bit of a letdown. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
the second season,
But if you
it's
look
not
at
nearly good.
it, if you look at SAO, the first half where they're actually in Aincrad and they're dealing with playing the game and everything, and I'm not going to spoil this because surprisingly some people haven't seen
Well,
it yet.
we should say the first half of the first season and the second half of the first season, because apparently those were both the first season.
Yeah, it is. What I'm saying is, Uh, that's actually kept up with the story arcs, though. The initial
Yeah,
story arc is the Ironclad story arc, where it's before and
yeah,
after that, and then Asuna and Kirito do their thing, in real life, and that's fine. The second story arc is where they're playing Alfheim online, and then you have the second half of it with the little girl who's dying. Okay, so that's actually four story arcs done into two seasons, and that pretty much shows exactly how a series works versus a manga. Like one season of a TV of a anime series is usually one at least one arc, typically two. And SA with SAO, like I said, it's just two story arcs to a season. And Attack on Titan actually crammed in two or three story arcs for theirs. It's it's woefully different than something like Naruto, which has already ended uh, its manga run like a couple years ago. Dragon Ball ended its manga run several years ago, but the stories for those actually continued on past that because the manga had been around longer than the series was, but there was so much they were able to add on. You can look at, in fact, a better example is One Piece, which is still being made right now. The anime is and the manga is, but there's so much room in there that there is almost no way that the anime will actually catch up with the manga. And there's a couple other things that were able to do the exact same pattern. There's just so much stuff that was made for the mangas than there was for the TV shows, and the TV shows could just go their own way and finally one. It's kind of like Power Rangers, like we talked about, last week when we did Power Ranger episode. It's kind of like in that, for six seasons you have a plot, like you have a beginning and an end, and certain points that they had to meet along the way, and then at the very, around the middle of it, it kind of wanders
well,
off and does this strange, thing like switching out the Rangers and all these stupid plot points, but it actually has a definitive
I
plot.
mean, in anime, we've seen this a lot. I never really watched Naruto or One Piece, but I know they're famous for their just random filler episodes that almost everyone really hates or dislikes. Um, there's always been a complaint in almost any anime, long running anime at least, even Dragon Ball Z, of just filler episode after filler episode where we're just waiting for them to get back to the plot. I mean,
Next
some of
week on
them
Dragon
do
Ball Z.
create.
Ah! This week on Dragon Ball Z. Ah! Is that what you're talking about?
I'm sorry for people's ears.
No, really, that's how it is. I used to joke with some friends in high school. Back when
No,
Toonami first came on, we were watching these shows, and we would joke, like after school we would catch up, and one of us would go, uh, tomorrow on Dragon Ball Z, and we would go, Ka! And then walk off. And the next day, today on Dragon Ball Z, ah! At the end of the day, tomorrow on Dragon Ball, it would go on, for weeks on end, and
yeah.
it took us about a month or so before we would finally get all the way through the Kamehameha, because that's exactly what happened. I mean, the show is bad with it, and see, the thing is, that I don't think non-anime watchers are aware of this, but what happens with long series like that, they do throw in some stupid episodes, um, uh, oh, excuse me, I'm trying to sneeze. I'm sorry about that. They throw in some really stupid, not just filler episodes. I mean, they're stupid, like just one-shot storylines, and there's
Yeah, and
occasionally.
I think we've been seeing this in shows like The Walking Dead. God bless you. Yeah. I think we've been seeing this in shows like The Walking Dead and the longer running TV series now. where there's just really just stupid random episodes that just kind of appear and then disappear and have no real bearing on character development or plot or anything. I mean, I honestly think that the TV creators and movie creators need more freedom and liberty to do something with these shows and make these filler episodes matter just a little in some way or form.
Well, see, that's kind of what like what One Piece did. You know, because I'm sorry, those of you who aren't aware, One Piece is probably the longest continual, both anime and manga. It's actually might be longer than the Dragon Ball storyline is. Dragon Ball is completely notorious for having episodes where it's nothing but, I mean, just stupid dialogue. I mean, like I remember when the Cell Saga first aired. You know, when, well, at least for us in the United States watching on Toonami, it was 2 or 3 months of them, every day, 5 days a week, Goku and Cell standing in an arena having a conversation,
Just talking.
30 minutes at a time. I'm like, come on, goddamn it, come on, just do something with your story. But One Piece, the anime actually throws people a bone. They will put in review episodes, or they do these little stupid uh, one-shot episodes, and it's fine. But something like Attack on Titan, you can't really do that. With Sword Art Online, you can't really do that. Because you already have an established story you're going from, and I think that's going to be the downfall of Attack on Titan. Because I mean, like right now, no one knows exactly. Even the manga readers have yet to have found out why the hell there are titans inside the wall. And yes, I just gave away a huge plot point, but if you've watched the anime, you've seen it.
I'm sorry, people, for spoilers. Yes, that is a terrible spoiler. How
It
could
it,
you
it is,
spoil
it
that?
is, but you know what? It didn't
Should
matter.
have. We're going to insert a spoiler alert for that. Just that right there.
Nah, keep people on their toes.
No, no. I'm going to force John to put a spoiler alert for that.
Well,
Yes.
actually,
Anyway,
speaking of spoiler alerts, I want to, like I said at the start of the show, Gotham had just ended, and I want to talk for a minute about B.D. Wong as Dr. Hugo Strange. Now, Nick does not watch Gotham, so this has no relevance to him. But there was an outrage about B.D. Wong playing Hugo Strange, and yes, this is going to be some spoilers. I'll go ahead and say it right off the bat this time. Um, if you have a problem with BD Wong playing Hugo Strange, you can suck my dick. BD Wong is a very talented actor. BD Wong is a very skilled actor. Okay, if you have watched him on Gotham and you have seen him as Doctor Strange, it's very impressive. Now, is he a white man with gray hair? No, but he is a much younger man. He's, I don't know, probably 20 years younger than where he would be in the comics at this point in time. So he's still got a black beard, and he's still a younger man. But visually, yes, he does actually look like Hugo Strange. Shaved head. He wears the round rimmed glasses with the colored lenses. Now in the show, his are red. In the comics, Doctor Strange's are typically yellow. But that's about the only difference. Okay. Uh, but he looks like Hugo Strange to me. I really don't get why it is that someone has to freak out and be all pissed off and angry that a character in a TV show is not like they are in the comics. Because Gotham has actually done a really, really good job with portraying the characters that they've shown off so far.
I mean, I haven't seen the show, so I can't make a judgment as well as you can. But I think this is just uh kind of a odd reaction to. Uh, People tend to think that there's some kind of double standard going on, where white characters, but you can't replace a minority character with a white character. And I'd actually say that that's double standard, if you want to consider that a double standard, rather needs to exist right now because there simply aren't enough minority characters or minority actors in Hollywood, as we've discussed previously on the show.
Well,
But
see, okay,
beyond that, wait, beyond that, I don't really think the race of the character necessarily matters unless it's for uh, the character being based around the racial background of uh, or the racial background having an effect on the character themselves. Like Black Panther. I'm sorry, but you cannot replace Black Panther with an Asian man or a white man or a Hispanic man. Black Panther comes from Africa, is an African king, and has to be played by a black man.
let's just be correct here.
Uh,
Let's just be correct here, okay? The
yeah,
kingdom that Black Panther is from is in South Africa, like physically inside of South Africa. There are white
yeah,
people from South Africa.
sure.
There actually
But
are fairly light skinned people in Egypt and Northern Africa. Okay, so
sure, sure.
theoretically, yes, you could make the argument that
But
you could have a white Black Panther. Now the problem with Hugo Strange is the character is typically shown as an old white man. Okay, I get that. It's fine, but it's not like he has some kind of identifier like an accent or anything. You know, he's just an old white man with kind of a pointy nose, and he's bald, and he has this, you know, this Amish style beard. That's all there really is noticeable about him, other than the glasses, other than the fact that his name is Strange. Hint, hint. Uh,
I
but
mean, if Hugo Strange was descended from a European family or king, or just something that his the backstory required some sort of European heritage, I would be more sympathetic to the outrage. But there really isn't.
it's to me it's stupid. And now here's the thing. Please understand that I am defending BD Wong as Hugo Strange because I like Dr. Hugo Strange. Okay? He's actually one of my favorite lesser used members of Batman's Rogue Gallery. I like Hugo Strange. I am very pleased with BD Wong as Hugo Strange. Okay? Like, I have no problem with him being Hugo Strange. And the way they have set him up in the show, it's creepy. Okay? Hugo Strange, no pun intended, should be strange. You should look at him and say, you know, that man might have some shit going around in his head that I might want to stay away from. And the way BD Wong delivers his lines, I'm sorry, his lines and his mannerisms, everything, it's really good. I love it. I love that he's being strange. In fact, he said something tonight. I will not give away who it is he said it to, but he said the word sane, I believe is what it was, and he just go and he actually dropped his voice almost a whole decibel to say it. So he's talking and he goes strange like that, you know, or I'm sorry, sane, just this, you know, lower register, and it was just out of nowhere, you know, and it was beautifully done. I mean, it's like people say that Cameron Bykendova cannot be Catwoman, and that I forget his name, but the guy who plays the Riddler is not any good, and then everyone praises Robin Lord Taylor for his portrayal of the Penguin. Well, he's perfect as the Penguin. I don't have any problems. But why isn't he fat? Well, him being fat would be a problem, wouldn't it? Um, yeah. Okay, stop being a fucking racist about this shit. It's fine for an Asian man to be a traditionally displayed as being a character traditionally displayed as being white. It's also fine to me that we have uh, give me 1 second, I'll bring it up. We have a another character introduced tonight, played by Lori Petty, and she's playing a woman named Jerry. Jerry is in clown makeup. Jerry has on red around her mouth, and she has kind of dark around her eyes. Her hair is kind of a very pale green, and she has a white painted face. Now, who do you possibly think that she's referencing, Nick?
Uh, I don't know, but that sounds pretty darn Jokerish to me.
It does. And see, here's the thing. There's even a scene. I'm not going to say who does it. But she grabs a gun and points it to her head, and kind of has this moment where it's like she's channeling Heath Ledger in the Dark Knight, where he has Two Face's gun to his forehead, and it's like, just pull the trigger. That's essentially what she's saying. And the way, of course, Lori Petty is amazing. Uh, for those of you who don't recognize the name, she was Tank Girl. You know, imagine that, but dressed up as the Joker, about 20 years older. Okay, it's it's
I could
it's
see
really
that.
good.
I,
It's really good. I actually
yeah,
fell in love with her character.
I kind of want to watch Gotham just to see that, honestly.
I mean, she has maybe 10 minutes total screen time, maybe at most, throughout the entire hour-long episode, and that's I mean, it's just little snippets. She doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but she does get quite a bit of screen time, and it's kind of like watching an older Tank Girl with Joker makeup on. Like, it's that same personality. She even calls.
I want to see that. I honestly want
It's
to see
good.
that.
It really,
Cause,
I'm
yeah,
very impressed. I was also equally impressed with Gotham's portrayal of Victor Freeze. Well, they called him Price in the show, but his introduction as Mr. Freeze was really, really good. Really good. They slightly altered the origin story for him. In this, Nora actually does die, but she dies because she actually commits suicide. Okay, that's the only thing I'm gonna say. Watch the fucking series and see how cool it is. No pun intended there. But some people, uh, surprisingly, the internet was not as angry about the changes to Mister Freeze as they were about the idea of Lori Petty, with this reminiscent of the Joker type makeup style. Um, and and the showrunners of Gotham have already said numerous times that the Joker is going to be in here. We just won't know when it's him, but they said that the actual Joker will not actually show up. I mean, as an actual villain until the series is getting ready to end. So, for example, we had the character Jerome, who was the young kid who was in the circus. He did the creepy grin, he did the laugh, he was insane, wasn't the Joker. There was a group of kids in Gotham who went around killing other people and then laughing about it because they thought death was funny, not the Joker. You have uh, Jerry, Laurie Petty's character, looks like the Joker, is definitely insane, is somewhat into anarchy, probably not the Joker. But one of the big arguments is, well, she's a woman. You can't have a female Joker. You have a female Batman. Think about that for a second. And I don't just mean Batwoman. I mean, there is no, no, I'm sorry, Thomas Wayne became the Joker is what I'm thinking of. Like, switched roles in different in an alternate universe. So Joker actually did become female in that one. Batman was actually Thomas Wayne, and the Joker was Martha Wayne, because both of them reacted to Bruce's death in different ways. So yes, you can have a female Joker. It would be cool. And I would be very much in favor of seeing how Laurie Petty does it, because the idea that they're building towards. Uh, and we're probably going to stop with the Gotham spoilers here in a little bit, because it's about to give away some whole future plot lines. I think just by me saying this, but the way they're building the series right now is the reveal. Okay, the reveal of the Batcave was a big milestone. Okay, they've hit pretty much every major milestone in character development they needed to so far, including Bruce learning to fight, Bruce learning that you can't kill someone and get justice, and now, and this is the only actual spoiler I'm going to give. At some point in tonight's episode, Bruce actually leaves Wayne Manor and goes off to live on the streets. Okay, I'm not going to say anything else about it. But what they're building to is, of course, the reveal of Batman. At the point in time that Bruce finally becomes the Dark Knight, and along with paralleling that, they're going to have the birth of the actual Joker. So all the events that you see where they kind of have a character that kind of hints at at being the Joker, odds are it's just a stepping stone towards who will eventually become the actual Joker. And I like that. I really do like that they're putting that kind of effort into the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool build up, and I mean, like I said, I really don't have that much problem with a show or movie taking some liberties with what they're doing, and I honestly think they might need to take more liberties than they have been in the past because I just I don't think shows can necessarily wait for the books or the comics or any written material because written material just plain takes longer to make. It's a more difficult process for a writer than it is for a TV producer. I'm not saying TV production or movies aren't difficult, but the amount of time it takes for writers is just a lot longer. And so, when a TV show comes out, I love when they try to stick true to the source material, and it's something that you can do when you have something that's already completely done. Lord of the Rings is a good example, even though, sure, they made lots of changes as well, but at the same time, they had the entire story done for them. They knew what the end was, they knew what the beginning was, the middle was, they had everything to work with. So any changes that they wanted to make were just, uh, they had complete, freedom to stay as close to the source material as possible. I don't think that's uh, possible for shows that are copying off of things that are in progress. So for something like Batman or Gotham or the Marvel universes or the DC universes, they have so much material to work with, and they can pick and choose what they want to do with it. Just like Batman versus Superman is based off of an old Batman comic. Um,
Yeah,
huh?
which is a good thing you mentioned that because that's actually our main topic of the show. Okay, here I'm actually gonna have to put the spoiler warnings for this in the description once we're done with the show and it's edited and everything. There have apparently been some people who have gotten to see the movie, like film critics and stuff. Always keep said earlier, and everyone was told that they had to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, and evidently, I don't know, 3 or 4 people have decided to say "fuck you" to the NDA. Now, keep in mind, I cannot confirm any of this. It is just what I'm being told. But I do think it's important that we discuss some of the plot points that have been revealed, and we kind of, I guess, do our typical thing, and we predict what's going to happen in the movie and where that's going to lead us. So, you ready, Nick?
Sure. Spoilers.
Yep. Spoilers. Okay. The primary thing here I want to discuss is that yes, we know that Batman is pre-established. Uh, Superman is the new person in town essentially. But the thing is with the movie is that Batman is actually the aggressor in this. Now it kind of hints at that in the trailers and everything we've seen so far. You know, it's like why does he have this suit of armor where he's essentially able to fight Superman? Okay, it's because he's been hunting fucking Superman. Okay, they have two fights, like two actual melee fights. The first one is when you see the Batmobile and apparently Superman kind of goes after him in the Batmobile, and it starts off because Batman's able to find him, and he slams into him with the car and hits him so hard that apparently he knocks him on his ass. So there's this chase or something like that, and then it ends uh, with the moment in the trailer where you see Batman go, "Oh shit," that's actually Superman blasting him apparently, with his laser beam eyes type thing, heat vision, whatever you want to call it. And then he goes over and he pulls uh, the roof open on the car, and Batman stands up. That's the first fight. Okay, the second fight is the one where you see the Bat plane and the machine guns and everything else, and where he's got the armor and shit on. Okay, but like I said, Batman is apparently hunting Superman throughout the entire movie because he feels, as I've said before, that Superman is too powerful. And apparently, the entire Senate committee, which, by the way, apparently some shit goes down during the hearing where Superman is present, and basically everyone in the room dies. Now, I don't know exactly what happens, but like I said, some shit goes down. Okay, so Batman is hunting Superman throughout this movie. What do you think about that, Nick?
I mean, that's what I expected, honestly. I expected that it was going to be Batman hunting Superman. That's everything that I got from the trailer. That's everything that I kind of got from the comic that it's based on. That basically Batman was going to be hunting down Superman for a fight. Um, the
Here's the bonus
question
day.
of whether it, huh?
I said, here's the bonus day with this. Do you know the scene where they're in the restaurant and Lex Luthor introduces them?
Yeah,
Apparently, that actually comes after the first fight or somewhere around it. And Bruce
that would
Wayne,
explain a
and
lot of things.
yes, that explains the definite animosity on Bruce Wayne's face because he fucking knows who he is. He knows
Yeah,
who he is, and if you look at Clark Kent's reaction, he's trying to be stupid about it, like, "Well, hi, nice to meet you," and Bruce Wayne gives him that little half smirk type thing. And that's why, because he fucking knows who he is. And of course, Superman realizes who he is around the same time, like, oh my god, and it's kind of like the joke. Well, it's not really a joke, but it's anyway in Batman Returns, where Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle realize who they really are. Really Batman and Catwoman respectively, and they're like, "Do we start fighting right now?" It's kind of just displayed in their eyes. So Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck
yeah,
are going to be really good at doing that.
yeah. I mean, the setup was obvious. I was honestly a little disappointed they showed that in the trailer, but because I thought it would have
Well,
been funny just to see it in the movie itself. But
well, it actually does set up the tension between the two. I mean, it's supposed
yeah,
you were saying about Captain America and Iron Man and the tension between them. This is being
yeah,
shown just to give you an idea. I mean, we're not supposed to. Or apparently, we don't see everything that goes on, but like the shots where you see uh, for example, uh, okay, Batman is actually a lot darker in this. Okay, he's actually more along the lines. Well, not just the way he was in the Dark Knight Returns, which is what the original storyline is. But he's kind of darker in the sense that when Batman first came out, he would actually tattoo a bat on people's foreheads and hang them upside down in Jim Gordon's office when he captured them. That's what he does in this. That's what he's going to do in this. Except he's not going to tattoo them. He's going to fucking brand them. He takes a batarang and he gets it hot. I don't know how he does it, but it gets hot and he actually brands them. That's why you see in that one clip there's a guy that's screaming and the police are carrying him off and he has a bat emblem on his chest. That's what that is. Batman is. Um, I kind of hate to say it, but they have him set up to be functionally a domestic terrorist. He is not taking any shit from Superman. I mean, he is literally out to kill him. But the whole meeting
Yeah,
with
which
Lex Luthor. Go ahead.
again, this is something that I rather expected from the trailer. From Superman's reactions in the trailer, his um arguments against Batman, it, and I wonder if okay, my main concern with this is that they're going too dark. Like as we know in Man of Steel. Now, Batman, of course, has always been a much darker story than Superman's. He's always been a much darker hero, almost anti-hero at times. Um, but at the same time, my main concern for this movie and for the DC universe in itself is that it's going too dark. As we discussed before in Man of Steel, I think both of us felt like it was too dark. It, especially for a Superman story.
Well, okay.
And
My whole thing with the darkness
uh,
in Man of Steel was pretty much just him snapping Zod's neck. Like that was the moment I was, like I can no longer believe this is Superman. But
yeah, but
but
I
but
mean,
but
the
I do ha-
entire movie was
but I do have some
building up
serious
to that
issues
point.
with the rest of it. Man, like the movie is a really drawn out extravaganza where they kind of try and repeat some of the stuff from the '80s. But
Yeah,
but here's the thing: considering the source material, like actually considering the Dark Knight Returns storyline, this is a storyline where Batman fights the Joker for the last time, and this is the
but
one
no,
where
I mean, I get this. That's not my problem. My problem is not the source material at all. It's one of the best Batman stories. Just hands down, one of the best Batman stories that there is. My
it's in
problem
fact so good
is,
that it has impacted every Batman story since it came out.
yeah, but my main problem is that if this is to set up all of the DC universe, because this is what it is really. This is supposed to set the tone for the rest of the DC universe. I not a lot of the DC universe is much more lighthearted. I'm not saying it's not dark necessarily, but there's a lot more of a lighter tone that I would say. Things like the Flash, Green Lantern, and other heroes that they may or may not use.
Well, see, that's where we
And
start getting spoiler territory. I mean, like, okay, everything we've discussed up until now is something we kind of already figured out from the trailer. I don't remember how long ago
yeah,
it was.
we
I don't
already
remember.
guessed almost all of this.
I don't remember how long ago it was that we actually discussed this, but the sequence, where they're in the desert and everything, and you see what's apparently Darkseid's minions and stuff like that. That's actually true. That was long since confirmed to be a nightmare. But what it is that you're seeing in that is not actual future events. And this is where the possible spoilers come into play. Okay, while Batman is hunting Superman, he apparently has visions, and he has these visions while he's in the Batcave, which is beneath Wayne Manor, which has already been destroyed. That's why there's water everywhere. That was the fire suppression system that took everything out. Yes, Robin shows up. Yes, Robin is dead. You can It's hard to see in the trailers, but there is a collection of Batman outfits that reference past Batman versions, including the 1960s, the '89 ones, and so on. It's just Batman through the ages, you know, kind of because at this point in time he's been doing this for 10, 20 years. Okay,
Which is a
so
pretty cool homage. It's a pretty cool homage.
it is, but like I said, there is a Robin, and it is thought that he is dead. But there is enough evidence shown in like his visions and everything else to kind of clue you in that Robin might not actually be dead. Hint, hint, he might be the Joker. Um, but there are references to nearly every other villain. Well, at least the main ones. There are a series of green painted question marks that show up. Just a lot of stuff that references other villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery. But what I was going to say is that all the sequences where they're in the desert, and you see, like the soldiers and stuff, that's apparently Batman having a dream sequence where he's imagining the possible future of what could happen if Superman is allowed to keep going. So essentially, Superman attracts a cult, and they serve him, and then he's uh, somehow the harbinger for Darkseid. Okay, and that's kind of where Wonder Woman steps in. She will be basically omnipresent in the entire movie. Like you'll see her all the time. Okay, there were I believe it was Turkish Airlines did two commercials. She's actually in them. She is a stewardess on the airplanes. If you look real close, you will see Gal Gadot as stewardess on the airplane. Uh, but it's just a subtle reference to how she shows up in the movie. Okay, but there is a number of events where you will see Wonder Woman in some form in the movie because she's basically there. Like we talked about a long time ago. She's basically there watching these two because she's aware of what could possibly happen. She's aware of everything going on, and she is actually going to be referred to as Diana Prince, ambassador of Themyscira. So if that gives you any idea where she might possibly show up, we're good. But like I said, she's there and she's watching everything going on, and she's apparently aware somehow that Lex Luthor, who by the way will lose his hair, it's been confirmed he does lose his hair. He loses it through kryptonite poisoning, which is comic accurate. In fact, every iteration of him has shown him actually losing it because of that. But the way he will lose it is during the fight in Man of Steel in downtown Metropolis. A lot of the Kryptonian equipment that was destroyed, the crystals and shit that ran the ships and everything, a lot of that was left there, like all the wreckage was there, and they found these strange glowing green crystals. Ta-da! Kryptonite. So that's how Lex Luthor has it. It's apparently never said it how much he has, but he does have enough of it that he's able to sell it to Bruce Wayne, which does confirm the fact that yes, this is the Dark Knight Returns type storyline where he has kryptonite in like his knuckles and all throughout his suit. So he's essentially beating Superman to death with a weapon that he knows of, and Batman is actually who buys it from Lex. It's not Bruce Wayne, even though I think it's hinted that Lex Luthor knows he's Bruce Wayne. So yes, we're going to see Batman beating the shit out of Superman, essentially mano a mano, because he's going to bring him down to his level, which is very comic accurate. Which is like Superman saying, "If I wanted you dead, I would have already done it." That's why Superman knows he can kill him, and then Batman has to find a way to bring him down to his level because uh, there is a line in Dark Knight Returns, which I believe is in this or something like it, from the reviews I read. But he says in The Dark Knight Returns, "I want you to know, uh, for the rest of your life, that you were beaten by just a man.
I mean, and it's always been a really cool line, but like I said before, I've always had this kind of issues with this storyline in the first place. And I mean, the idea is cool. It's cool to do a comic story about it. I mean, I like it. But to me, the simple fact of the matter is always, and has always been, that, at least in my opinion, Batman stands absolutely no chance against Superman. It's just that simple. And even the fact, even if Batman was to win in a fight like this, even if during the movie he comes out as the winner in the fight, which I don't think will happen because I'm pretty sure the fight gets stopped in the middle of it and then they have to face the problem, like they showed in the trailer, blah 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 blah. But anyways, um, even if it was that Batman beats Superman, the simple fact of the matter is that Superman could have killed him at almost any point during the match. And to me, that's almost an empty victory, if you could call it a victory of any sort at all. And again, that's just my opinion. I mean, uh, you can disagree with it, certainly. But that's just the way that I look at it.
Well,
And
see,
it's
okay, here's the thing:
probably what.
if it if it's
Mhm.
genuinely following the Dark Knight Returns type of story, okay, which it pretty much is. We have an older Batman. He's pissed off at Superman for whatever reason. Blah 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 blah. That's all established. Okay. If
Yeah,
he beats him, this is Superman expressing his morality and basically his empathy because he realizes that if he's going to fight him, it's going to have to be fair. And I think the overall point in the whole thing is Batman wants him to realize, hey, you're on our planet. You need to, you know, be a little more aware of your abilities and what you can do. Which is kind of the way it's kind of Batman's go-to argument, and it's actually
I mean,
established.
I get it, but at the same time, I mean, and maybe this is just my bias from previous Superman stories, and not the newer stories where Superman's a bit more godlike and a little more arrogant and stuff. But growing up from the '90s, Superman never really needed that lesson from the stories that I grew up on. And so it's kind of a weird storyline to me, I guess. And maybe this is kind of a little bit age dependent because John is a few years older than me. Not much, but at the same time, he experienced a bit of a different Batman and Superman than I did. Um, and uh, it's just an odd thing to me to be trying Superman this lesson when I've never really seen Superman do anything that warranted him needing to learn this lesson. Um,
Well,
eh,
okay,
I mean,
hang on,
I think that
hang
might
on,
be my main problem.
hang on. You say that Superman didn't really do anything to warrant this kind of attack, but he actually did. Think back to uh Man of Steel. Okay, uh, he
Yeah,
he has to have killed a couple million people with this fight between Zod and the other Kryptonians. Like there's basically no way that a couple million people were not killed. I mean, at least a
I,
quarter of the population of Metropolis, if nowhere else, are dead. Okay,
I,
okay, so
I understand that, but it wasn't like Superman was trying to fight in the middle of Metropolis. or if he didn't fight him, things would have been better off. It's always an odd argument to me to make. Well, people died during your fight, so it's your fault they died. Well, sure, but at the same time, if I didn't fight, you all would have died anyways. So, how is that my fault? I mean,
It's because humans have this idea of justice, and we all know that's what Batman is supposed to represent. In fact, it was uh that was actually brought up in Gotham Tonight. Jerry actually refers to Bruce as being the childish hand of fate, and I'm the one who's playing God. Which is it's interesting to think about that. And that's actually a very subtle hint at every other version of Batman, where the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul are actually ultimately in control of Bruce's actions. Because they're the ones that's setting up, this entire web of criminals for Gotham. But anyway, what I'm getting at, uh, holy shit, that might have spoiled Gotham for even me. Anyway, um, um, now that I think about it, that's kind of strange. But anyway, um, okay, the story, like I said, it's clearly established in the comics. But another thing that's established for Batman is that he is more than functionally aware of how to kill every member of the Justice League. He knows how to do it. In fact, there was a storyline in one of them in one of the movies that was done by DC, and I believe it was in the comics, where Batman actually leaves the Justice League because they felt that they could no longer trust him once they found out that he knew how to kill them. And his entire thing is, you actually fucking need me in the Justice League. Like, you need me to be here because I'm the one who keeps you in check. I am the one responsible for making sure that the rest of you don't kill anything. And then he goes this argument. He's like, you can fly and shoot laser beams. You can make whatever you want to. You're half robot. You can get anyone to tell the truth, and you can fly and other shit. You have an invisible jet. You can run fast. You can make he starts pointing at everyone in the Justice League, and he's like, "Fuck all of you. I'm the only normal person here. I just have my brain and my money." You know, it's like the it it's really pushing the whole concept that Batman represents Big Brother. I mean, just like it's like it. Okay, imagine a giant red button that has the word Big Brother on it, and Batman just walks up to it and just hits it so hard he breaks it off, like inside the little wall or whatever it's on. Okay, that's what Batman's
well,
doing. You know,
yeah, I mean, Batman has always acted as sort of the big brother, or Overwatch, or however you want to term it.
Batman is the
He's
Watcher who watches the Watchers.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, and I mean, it's a needed and important role, but at the same time, it's always been sort of I guess a questionable role.
Ominous. Is that what you're saying?
Um,
Ominous.
uh, I mean, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Um,
Threatening.
there are certainly a bunch of stories where the heroes have either gone crazy or been mind controlled or something where they had to be stopped. And of course, they needed Batman for that. And of course, he needs to plan for how he's going to do that. I mean, that's just natural, it's just a given. But the weirder thing to me is for Batman. Batman has almost always been reactionary in these kind of storylines and plots. He's never been uh, an aggressor, at least from the stories that I've seen. And I think that's perhaps my almost trepidation for this upcoming movie is him aggressively trying to preemptively stop what could be a threat. It, it, it's it, it's kind of like the Civil War storyline, to me, of the position that Iron Man takes, and to me, Superman's more of in the Captain America role here, at least, from what I'm seeing. Of course, we still have to see both upcoming movies to really determine that or compare that. But I just have problems with that approach, to me, on just not only on a storyline basis, but from a personal basis and a moral basis as well. And I mean, that's just me. And I mean, maybe they handle it really well. Maybe I'll be more sympathetic to Batman when I see the movie. But so far, everything that I've heard and seen is more confirming my earlier worries and beliefs than relieving any of them.
But see, that goes back to where the root where the story is, and the reason I keep saying, I keep bringing up this one storyline is because literally every Batman that's come out, not just comics but every movie has drawn influence from this one particular storyline. But the reason, the
Yeah.
sole reason that Batman is the way he is in this is because that's actually how he is in that story. He's 50 some odd years old now. He should have long since retired. He actually has a group of vigilantes in Gotham that are taking on his role. He's uh, the original Robin is still Nightwing. Catwoman's retired and became a whore. The Joker's dead because he winds up killing in the story. But I mean, it goes on and on. And it gets to the point where he is pissed off at Superman because Superman represents the one thing he could never do, and that was essentially be, I guess, appreciated or justified for everything that he ever did. Uh, Superman was, the one person out of the entire Justice League who was not told that he had to retire or that he had to leave the planet or other stuff like that, or was not attempted to be killed. And Superman became a member of the federal government. He became on the government employment, and he would go around killing people because why the hell not? He was Superman. He could do it, but it was okay because the United States said to. Uh, so that idea that Batman becomes the aggressor, in this kind of has that same precedence. I mean, because Superman's already been approached by the government. Uh, the government's already tracking him. Now here he is at a hearing. It's like everything the government's doing is like, look, work with us, we'll work with you. And Batman is like, no, I have to be the one to keep him in check. I'm the only human being actually able to do that. I mean, like on a physical, mental, emotional scale, I'm the only human being able to do that, and that's why I think it's important to set Batman up the way that they are. I mean, it's
Well,
Batman. It's Batman. I mean, there's no other
I
version of
mean,
Batman you're going to get now.
but see, here's my problem with the way of thinking is that and we've discussed before whether Batman supposedly represents the peak of uh, humanity, um, which is all fine and good, but at the same time, the sheer how should I put this? The almost arrogance of Batman, the ego of Batman, um, where he puts himself and his opinions above that of everyone else is almost disturbing. I guess I'm not. It's just I can't think of how I want to describe this.
Well,
It's
see,
almost off-putting It's just an odd. It's an odd position for to me for him to take, where he says,
That
"I'm the only
that,
one." Like
yeah,
I'm the only person in
that
the
actually goes
entire
back.
world.
That actually goes back to I don't know if you remember us discussing this. This was sometime last year, talking about where it is these like DC storylines are based. They're actually based in Greco-Roman mythology.
Greek
Batman is
mythology.
death. Batman is hell. He's Hades. And so the whole
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
that
yeah.
so the whole idea that I'm the equalizer, I am the one that you're all beholden to. He's death. That when you understand that that's what he represents. Like he's the one who's over the underworld. When you're dead and you're gone, you're equal. So he knows exactly how to take you out, like death. Like death, the people, the personification of death can come for you in any shape, any form, at any time. So can Batman.
Wait, wait.
He's like, eventually you will have to deal with me. And when he beats Superman, that's why he tells him, "I want you to understand that I'm the one that beat you. It was just a simple man that beat you." But the problem with this is arise. Well, it's not really a problem. It's actually kind of cool. Batman stops his own heart in the comic, and then he wakes up later on, and then he starts training his little cult to take over for him. So in that way, death is not stopped. I mean, death. The afterlife. Hades is still there. It continues. So Batman is basically Batman forever. Okay. But anyway, going back to the movie, um, the last
Well,
couple,
okay.
the last,
Actually, well, hold on. That might actually be my problem with this. Is that we've seen that other people can take over for Bruce before. Batman Beyond was a really great series, and comic in my opinion. We've seen other versions of Batman that have arisen. Other people have taken over for Batman at various times and storylines and points in the comic. It's certainly Batman has imparted his influence and knowledge on most of these people, but at the same time, we've seen other people do what Batman can do. It's and perhaps that's my biggest problem with the story, or the storyline itself, is that I don't buy that Batman is the end all be all equalizer for everyone. It's something that I just don't buy.
okay.
Um,
Okay. What I'm getting at is that Bat Family inclusive, because that's what they're called. It's not um, Bruce Wayne that's the be all end all. It's Batman. It's like this is what I can do. Like essentially the Watchtower would not function without him. The Justice League would not function without him. Like
well,
he's the
I mean,
one who
I'm
builds
not
all
trying
their
to.
cool shit. He's the one who
Yeah,
controls
I'm
where
not
they
trying
go.
to.
He's Batman. Like he's
I'm
the
not
one who
trying
has
to
all the information.
discount.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. It's like
Hold on, hold on. I'm not trying to discount the importance of Batman. Batman is essential for the Justice League. He is essential for their formation, their operations, their running, keeping people in check in general. I get all that. My problem is when he wants to, I guess, put himself above every other human, and essentially declare himself a god. Because that's to me what he does during this storyline. Um, Even though he says you're being beaten by a single man or a simple man, he doesn't believe himself to be a simple man. He never has the humility of a simple man. He's never had that sort of humility before. And so that's probably to me the oddest thing that doesn't make this or the problem that I have with this storyline is that, and it's also the problem I have with Iron Man and his argument is that how can you say that you deserve to be the Watcher over the Watchers when you've made so many mistakes, when you've proven time and time again that you're not perfect, when you've proven time and time again that you are a human and that you need to be watched as well. Um, and I think that's my biggest problem, both with Civil War and Batman versus Superman.
But that again goes back to the Greco-Roman roots of Batman. He's death. You can't keep an eye on death. Like you can prepare for death, and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get everything ready for my death. Like you can have a will and everything else, but still, you could just have a like, this I actually had I went to one of the first friends I ever had in the world was actually murdered, a couple weeks ago. Okay, I sincerely doubt that this girl ever really thought, what was going to happen. She's in her, just turned 33 years old. Had a daughter. Was wanting to move back here where we, where we're from, and you know, just have fun and live her life. I don't think that she ever thought that she would be shot to death. Okay, I don't think she would ever shot that after, ever think that after she was shot to death, that her body would be drug outside and intended to be set on fire. Okay, I don't think she would think that. I never fucking thought that.
It's
Okay, everyone,
it's sad.
e- e- everyone that I've gone to school with, or that I've known since childhood, that I've outlived, we've all kind of expected we would outlive one another. Like I expect either you or I to outlive one another. In fact, just it's the truth. Eventually, death comes for everybody. Death is the only one who
Mm,
keeps. I'm personifying death here for this. Okay, death is the only thing that keeps an actual count of everything that you've ever done and comes for you when it's your time to go. Like there's nothing you can do to stop it. And that is what Batman represents. Like Hades in mythology can do whatever the fuck he wants to, but there's nothing else that can be done. Hades is where he is, and he's there for a reason because he is the only uh, god capable of performing that role. I mean, you can put someone else there if you want to. You can have someone else, go down there and help him. But ultimately, Hades is Hades, and there's no way around it. And that's exactly what Batman is. Like, you can have the Bat family, to help him. You can have him retire and pass on the mantle. But there is still always going to be a Batman, just like there's always going to be a death. And that's really uh, the best way I can explain it, is to make it that kind of personal understanding that Batman is what like he has to symbolize what he is. Like the whole idea that Batman represents justice and equality and stuff like that. No, that's not actually true. Oh, I mean, unless you want to say that death is actually actual justice, but there's a problem because there actually is a deity for justice. Okay, but anyway, um, Batman represents that. It's like the finality. So the idea that he's hunting Superman makes sense to me. It's like the world is pissed off at Superman. You can kind of get that hint from the accusations made against him in the trial. It's like, well, you might want to be a little wary of what it is that you're doing. We might not want you being able to fly around and shoot eye lasers and everything. We might actually want you to leave. Because in a way you're the only one we can actually blame on these multi millions of deaths on. Because ultimately it is Superman's fault. He's the only one left who survived the fight, so it's on him. But going back to what I was saying, to where Batman gets the
yeah,
kryptonite,
I would
uh,
disagree with that.
going back to where Batman gets the kryptonite. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Batman gets kryptonite. Apparently, it was all around during the fight, and there was so much of it that Lex Luthor was able to just hoard it, and he has all the kryptonite. Okay, that's where he also does get Zod's body because apparently he was somehow I don't know how. I don't know if it's explained, but he was able to get Zod's body and some of the Kryptonian equipment. In fact, if you watch the trailer, You see that weird uh, egg incubation room type thing where the Kryptonians are hatched at. That's that's in part of his collection. But yes, Zod does become Doomsday. The Doomsday that you saw in the trailer is pretty much not his final form. The longer he fights, the angrier he gets, the more his body will mutate, and eventually he will wind up having a very comic like appearance. So, like all the spikes and bony projections and stuff on him will show up.
Which
Uh,
will be pretty cool.
but yes, that is where
That
Wonder
sounds pretty
Woman
cool.
steps in. Now, the thing is, Doomsday is apparently not the actual final bad guy in the movie. And Zack Snyder, the director, has already said that yes, there is another bad guy. It is not Doomsday. Uh, Now, this is where we're getting to and stuff I can't actually confirm. Okay. Apparently, Lex is so hell bent on taking out Superman because he realizes Superman could be a threat. Not just him, but also Batman. And again, at this point in time, Wonder Woman has showed up, so we have to take her out too. Apparently, he has used Kryptonian technology to build a basically a supercomputer, and that supercomputer is capable of building him a robot army. Uh, the supercomputer is how can I put this, Brainiac? Now I don't know if it's
Yeah.
called that in the movie, but it does make sense, for given the length of the movie, which is about it's actually upwards of 3 hours. Uh,
Wow, three
yes,
hours?
yes, yes. This will
That is
be
a
yes,
really
yes. This will
wow.
be
That's
yes, yeah. This will be the
I
longest.
wonder if that's I
This will
wonder if that's too long.
it might be, but this is why what I'm supposed to say is important. Okay, to make up for the length, apparently we will actually see uh, the actual dawn of justice. And by that, I don't just mean, oh, look, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I mean, apparently, uh, Aquaman shows up, Cyborg shows up, Green Lantern, and the Flash are all pre-established characters. Now, the reason this is important, the reason that this might actually be what's going on, is because the movie has not made a secret of pre-establishment in here. Okay, uh, Doomsday is built upon the corpse of Zod. Okay, so there is the establishment there, and that goes directly back to the comics, where Doomsday was actually built from a normal Kryptonian. He was experimented on and mutated. So what this is uh, Lex Luthor trying to counter Superman by using another Kryptonian. So he creates Doomsday. So there's your establishment for
See,
Doomsday right there.
see, for me, pre-establishment. I mean, I would have liked the Batman movie, but before this, but I can buy pre-established Batman. I can buy, even though they actually did establish Superman, I could have bought a pre-established Superman. But I can even buy pre-established Wonder Woman. I can buy pre-established Flash, since the Flash TV series is so popular now. But I
Oh,
do wonder
by the
if
way,
Cyborg.
speaking of that, I'm not sure whether the Green Lantern comes into this. I am not sure where Green Arrow will come into it. But apparently the Flash in the movie is actually the Flash from the TV show. I don't know. Uh,
But don't they have different actors?
I am not too certain. Like I said,
Wait, wait. So they're actually mixing the CW TV show with the
I don't know.
DC universe?
I don't know. But
I
see,
mean, that's
but
gonna be confusing to me until I know more about that.
well, see, Supergirl already ties in the story, because it actually references several times the
Yeah.
events of what happened in Man of Steel. So we know that there is a precedence for having pre-established characters. So the
However,
idea that these characters that have already been there, like for
Green
example,
Lantern and Cyborg worry me though. That's what I was gonna say. Because the one Green Lantern movie we've had was absolutely horrible, and Cyborg has not had a movie. He's been in Teen Titans, of course, but I wonder how many people will know their stories, and whether they should have establishment movies for them.
well, really the only other option they had to go with, other than Cyborg, well, they could have gone with Green
And
Arrow.
Aquaman too.
Well,
Aquaman too.
yeah, but Aquaman's in this, okay? Apparently Aquaman and Diana are gonna have an established background. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but anyway, bringing okay, for example, Cyborg is really the only member of the Justice League that I have a problem with. Okay, the reason being that the lineup that I have typically seen is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, uh,
Green Lantern,
yeah, Green Lantern,
Martian Manhunter,
and Martian Manhunter. Okay,
and
but you
Hawkgirl or Aquaman.
but you could skip Manhunter and put Green Arrow in, and that would be okay because Arrow has been a member, a primary member of the league multiple times, so they could do that. Uh, but I don't know where it is they're going to be introducing them from in the series, in the movie. I mean, but apparently, uh, it's all character like for example, we're going to see Hal Jordan. Yes, it's fucking Hal Jordan.
Thank
And
God.
from what I understand,
Thank God.
shut up. Uh, John Stewart,
What?
get the fuck off. Uh,
Oh wait,
apparently,
wait, wait, wait. Oh wait, wait. No, no, wait, wait. Not Jon Stewart.
no, we're going to have Hal Jordan, okay? And apparently,
Oh no,
the
no.
first,
I want Jon Stewart. I
hang
want
on, so
Jon
do I,
Stewart.
so do I. But apparently, the first time you see him, he will be a pilot, and I don't know how he's addressed, but you do see him in there. Like apparently, all these characters are going to show up at some point in time in the movie with something that kind of hints to who they are. Okay, I like for Cyborg. I'm at a loss entirely for, but Hal Jordan apparently shows up as a pilot somewhere. The Flash shows up somewhere, but in the end of it, it's all going to be this one giant battle against Lex Luthor's giant robot armies. From what I understand, now I I actually secretly hope this is wrong, but with the spoilers that were given for The Force Awakens and several other movies, I'm not going to hold my breath that it's wrong. Uh, but apparently, what we're going to see is this giant battle at the end of the movie with all these characters, and then the end. They're going to do like one of those side by side, hero lineup type things, and then might cut to black. I don't know, but it will effectively establish in one movie the entire Justice League, including Batman, Superman, working together, and then everyone realizing, hey, Batman could possibly fuck us all up if he wants to because he's Batman. And that's kind of okay with me. I mean it's Justice League, and I actually like the Justice League more than I like the Avengers. So fuck you, Marvel.
Well, I mean, I agree with you that Justice League tends to be a better storyline or story or group of heroes than Avengers. But I still question the lack of establishment. I mean, I don't know. I just I have a lot of worry and concerns for this movie, and I mean, I'm hoping it will be good. We need a good DC universe. We really do. We deserve a good DC universe movie setting. And some things I've liked in the TV series I've seen so far, and some things I have not liked. But I guess time will tell. It's pretty soon.
Well, see, that's that's why the length of the movie apparently comes into play, because the way it's described is that there will be enough time to actually mention the stories, give you an idea of who they are, and then all of a sudden at the end, oh shit, they've been there the whole time. I mean, and for people who are
I honestly wonder if it's too long. Lord of the Rings is probably too long, because I've tried to show it to some people before, and they honestly got bored, just with the length of the movie. A over 3 hour movie is a very long movie. That's a long, long time.
it is, but like what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna bitch about it, or are you gonna watch it and enjoy it?
I'm gonna watch it, but I might bitch about it after.
Well, okay, look, say tomorrow is actually the movie's 10 days away, so we could probably have a follow up show. In fact, I'm sure we will. But speaking of something being a few days away, um,
Just like I'll bitch about Civil War if I don't like Civil War or things. I'll bitch about what I went to. It's a free country. It's still a free country, I think. I mean, unless Donald Trump becomes president, then it won't
well,
be a
okay,
free country.
I think what might actually happen is no, never mind. I had a blank one. Sorry. What I was gonna say is, speaking of things that are a few days away, in 4 days actually, three days as tomorrow, which is probably when the show is going to be posted, sometime after midnight. We're going to be having season 2 of Daredevil. Woohoo! Yeah,
Oh,
Daredevil!
yes.
Yeah!
Yes, I'm very
Yeah!
excited. I might try to marathon that. I honestly might try to marathon that. I am so excited for Daredevil.
I probably will, and if we and I'm sure we'll do a Friday show. We may actually just wind up having to wait until then. Like until
Or
it's actually
until
fun.
we've recovered and have enough sleep.
I don't know. Oh, hey, I do want to bring up one very important thing. Apparently, the Ku Klux Klan, as of today, has endorsed Hillary Clinton for president.
I just want to kind of laugh at this. I mean,
It really makes you wonder, though, doesn't it?
I'm honestly not that surprised. I'm not that surprised. I'm just.
Well, I mean, she
Hopefully
is
she
responsible.
actually.
She is
Hopefully she
well
actually denies the support. I'm hoping.
she hasn't yet. And see, the thing is, it took Trump 48 hours to do it, and there was much anger on her part about that, saying that he needed to do it.
Should we start a clock on how long it takes her to deny the support for the Ku Klux Klan?
Uh, but since we're on that topic, I do want to close with an open letter to Donald Trump. This was posted by Humans of New York on Facebook. This is beautiful. This makes my day. Mr. Trump, I try my hardest not to be political. I refused to interview several of your fellow candidates. I didn't want to risk any personal goodwill by appearing to take sides in a contentious election. I thought, maybe the timing is not right. But I realize now that there is no correct time to oppose violence and prejudice. The time is always now. Because along with millions of Americans, I've come to realize that opposing you is no longer a political decision, it is a moral one. I've watched you retweet racist images. I've watched you retweet racist lies. I have watched you take 48 hours to disavow white supremacy. I've watched you joyfully encourage violence and promise to pay the legal fees of those who commit violence on your behalf. I've watched you
and then
advocate the
not
use
pay
of
them.
torture. I've watched you advocate the use of torture and the murder of terrorist families. I've watched you gleefully tell stories of executing Muslims with bullets dipped in pig blood. I've watched you compare refugees to snakes and claims that Islam hates us. I am a journalist, Mr. Trump, and over the last 2 years I have conducted extensive interviews with hundreds of Muslims chosen at random on the streets of Iran, Iraq, and Pakistan. I have also interviewed hundreds of Syrian and Iraqi refugees across 7 different countries, and I can confirm the hateful one is you. Those of us who have been paying attention will not allow you to rebrand yourself. You are not a unifier. You are not presidential. You are not a victim of the very anger that you've joyfully inflamed for months. You are a man who has encouraged prejudice and violence in the pursuit of personal power. And though your words will no doubt change over the next few months, you will always remain who you are. Sincerely, Brandon Stanton. This has 1,375,953 likes.
And I hope that number grows, and a lot. I hope it grows a lot.
And if you click on it, you'll see names like Hillary Clinton and people that were on the year in space mission. Like that, there's a bunch of people who have liked it. Of course, I mean it's a large number of likes, but yeah, like it's actual verified famous people's Facebook pages liking it. It's kind of amusing to look at the names on
It's
here.
it's a very true letter. I completely agree with it.
And I really like my favorite part is all of the Muslims who are posting on here. They're like, yes, we don't actually hate any of you. Just please be aware, it's not all of us that are doing. It's cool, and it makes my day.
Yeah,
It really
I would
does.
like to have. Well, I mean that was a pretty awesome letter. I would like to close with an open plea to everyone voting tomorrow. Please go out to vote. Whoever you're going to vote for, obviously, we would like Bernie to win, but please go out to vote. And maybe the one person we don't want you to vote for is Donald Trump. So please go out to vote tomorrow. Please do your civic duty, and please do not let vote for Donald Trump.
It's true. Tomorrow
And
is another Super Tuesday. There is.
and,
I I
and if you
I, I
vote for
forget the
Bernie,
delegate count tomorrow,
then
but
we will. If you vote for Bernie, we will applaud you, and maybe I don't know. Is there anything we can do? Say thank you on our
Nick will
Facebook
give.
page?
Okay, if you vote for Bernie, Nick will give you a reach around.
I am completely willing to accept that. Just go vote for Bernie, people. Go vote for Bernie.
Yes, vote for Bernie and get a hand job from Nick.
Oh God.
Hey, you agreed to it, so
I mean, yeah. I I mean, hey, if he gets Bernie more votes, right?
you know you, you know what's gonna be
Although
hilarious?
this could be considered, maybe not, because this might be considered voter tampering, possibly. So perhaps we
You
shouldn't say that.
you know what's gonna be the best part? I'm actually tempted to make that the title of today's episode.
No, no. The title of the episode needs to be spoilers. To warn people that there are spoilers. Because there were a lot
No,
of spoilers.
How about hand job for spoilers?
Maybe. Oh no.
Anyway,
I don't think that would be a good title.
I think that should we've been on nearly 2 hours, so I think it's going to be a good point to stop for today. And we will be back Wednesday, probably to discuss some of the votes tomorrow. Um, I'm not going to make a
And just as
prediction.
a disclaimer, again, I'm not. Yeah, no hand jobs. I'm sorry, people, but that'd be voter tampering. So, but go vote
No,
for
it's not.
Bernie. Go vote for.
I so see.
It,
Okay. Look. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna make a prediction, Nick. If you want to make one, that's fine. I just will say that I have an ominous feeling about tomorrow, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm hoping that Bernie can pull out in Ohio and Illinois. If he can win in Ohio and Illinois, I don't think he'll win Florida. But if he can win in Ohio and Illinois, I think he has a really good shot at least continuing in the race.
I guess we'll find out. But I did actually have one final thing. I did have an interesting conversation on Saturday. Uh, I have developed a new favorite person in my town. She's in this business that's uptown every time I go up there. Uh, I actually already had to hit her with a Moroku quote from Inuyasha, like "Have my children," uh, because she's kind of awesome. So this shows that she might not see this episode, but this is dedicated to her and her awesomeness, especially because uh, I'm not going to give her age away, but I will say that she's a little older than I am. This is the first election she's ever voted in. She was so motivated this time to actually go vote that she did. So, Sarah, this show is for you.
Thank you for doing your duty, Sarah. Thank you.
Actually, I take it back. I take it back. This is for both of the Sarahs I know because I have two favorite people named Sarah, and both of them voted for the first time this year.
I also have a cousin named Sarah, who I love very much. So to all the Sarahs in the world, we like you. You're cool people.
It's true, they are. Speaking of which, I don't. It's been a while since we've mentioned them on the show. But everyone needs to go look up Sarah and Kathy's Nerdy Adventure because that's another awesome Sarah. So give them a listen. And that Sarah has actually offered.
If I ever have a daughter, I kind of want to name her Sarah now, just because there are so many awesome Sarahs.
There has never been a bad Sarah. But see, the funny thing is that every Sarah you meet will mention we're all crazy. But there's never been a bad Sarah. But what I was gonna say about Sarah and Cassie is give them a listen, and they've offered to be on the show as guests, and I think that uh, I mean, they said if we ever need someone, they're welcome on here, and I think the offer is uh, extends both ways. So go give them a listen if you haven't recently, and we will talk to all of you Wednesday, and hopefully. Oh, by the way, a little update on Brandon. I think we've discussed before about his health issues. I don't remember if we have, Nick. But today was the first time in 2 years that he's actually been able to get out and do because he has. Uh, um, this is not to give away too much of his personal information, but he does have some health issues where he's not able to be active. Today he was actually outside, and he and his wife, who is, if I'm not mistaken, his name's Sarah, are actually building a garden for themselves. So he's been able to get out and about today. So good job, Brandon.
Congratulations, Brendan. I am legitimately clapping for you right now.
See, we ended on a positive note.
That's weird. We need something depressing to end the show on.
Yeah, you're getting a
Um,
hand job from Nick for voting for Bernie.
I wonder if that wait. scare people away from voting from Bernie.
Well, we all know that you are in fact a giant robot with your robot hands. So
I am not a damn robot.
fine, you're a cyborg.
It's I'm not a damn cyborg either. God damn it. Okay,
Look, look.
now we've officially ended on a negative note.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Nick. Thanks for
All is
ruining
right
it.
in the universe. All is right in the universe.
Thanks for ruining it, Nick. We were in a good mood. Now we're not. Gee.
That's what I'm here for. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Go, Bernie.
Yep. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, and weigh in on how much of a cyborg you think Nick actually is. Bye, everybody.
Alright. Cyborg. Goodbye.